Hello everybody, it's Crystal. So today I'm going to be showing you how to crochet this shawl. Now, I did cut these short for tutorial purposes. Also, I have made this same shawl in about 4 different types of yarn because I cannot decide which one I like the best. So I had to take a break, but I recorded the tutorial to show you how. So this is what the shawl looks like. Here it is. This is a nice representation of it because it's in a nice solid. As you can see, it is a 3-dimensional stitch. And it's a very easy 2-row repeat. It's just, see that? That's super cool, isn't it? I'll talk about the yarn that I used too as well. So it's worked from the top and then it goes down. And yep. So yeah, that gives a good idea of, you know, how you can see that it's a 3-dimensional stitch. I like it. I think it's beautiful. I do. I just made too many of them today. And then I was making it out of this yarn. And I got so far and I'm like, it's too busy. Because you know anything about me, I don't like busy yarns. But I'm like, I'm going to give this one a go. It's really pretty. It is. But I think that the yarn is too busy for me. So I went and switched for one of my faves, a nice blood red. But before this, I did a busy blue one. And I didn't like that one either. This is too busy. But I'm going to show you. So this is what it looks like in kind of a semi-variegated, short, self-striping, marled looking. It's kind of like puzzle yarn. That's what it is. Premier Puzzle, if you've ever seen that. So that's kind of... You can still see the 3-dimensional effect in it. Just you can see it a little bit better, and I think a solid. But both are very pretty. So for this red one here, oh shoot, sorry. The red one there, you see I used Red Heart Soft, which is a medium weight number 4, 100% acrylic yarn, and I used a size I, which is a 5.5mm crochet hook for the 4-weight yarn. Now, if you want it to be, you know, an average size shawl, about 60 inches, you're probably going to need about 1,000 yards of a 4-weight to achieve that. And then this one right here is actually a bulky number 5 or a chunky weight. And this was ice yarns, and it's actually called, that's the number, Puzzle Wool Worsted. So it's kind of like puzzle yarn. Oh, I guess it's a 4-weight, but actually I would consider more of a bulky 5 myself. I don't know. It's thinner than the red I use, or it's thicker than the red I use. So there you go. Anyways, whatever you want to call it, that's what I used. That's the number. If you type it in ice, it should pop up. It's beautiful yarn. I like it a lot. I think it's an acrylic woollen. So yeah, that wasn't even a whole ball. So I think there's 300 and I don't know, 40 yards per ball or something. So 2 would probably make an average size shawl of that, I would say, because it's a thicker weight yarn. And for this one, I used a 6mm J hook. And like I said, for this thinner 4-weight, I used an I. So you can tell the difference there in size. It's weird that they label that one as a 4-weight. Okay, well anyways, both are pretty. Both are shawls. You make them as big as you want, because like I said, it's a 2-row repeat, and you can make it, you know, just keep going until you get it to the size that you want it to be. This right now would make a good, like, shawlette wrap around the neck. That's the way it is right now. So, that being said, I told you about the yarn, told you about the hook, how much you need for whatever yarn that you wanted to use. You can use different sizes yarns too. It does not matter what yarn you use, what color you use, what brand you use, what size you use. I don't care. You use whatever you want. Shawl will turn out the same regardless. If you use a thinner weight, you'll have to add more rows, or to whatever size you want it to be. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and get started. Now in the tutorial when I'm teaching it, I'm actually using a different red yarn. It is a 6-weight yarn. I decided that was way too thick. But You can see it pretty good because it's thick, me teaching it because it's a thicker weight yarn. All right, yeah, that's it. All right, let's go ahead and get started. All right, so we're going to start out with a slip knot on our hook. And then we're going to work a chain of 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm going to slip stitch back into the first chain to form a ring. I might do it. There we go. All right. Now I'm going to be working in that ring because this shawl is worked top down. Okay. All right. So I'm going to chain 1, which does not count as a stitch. Okay. And we're going to go and we're going to be working through the center of the ring. And we're going to work 3 double crochets. So there's 1, 2, and 3. Then we're going to chain 2. 1, 2. And we're going to go back through the ring and work 3 more double crochets. There's 1, 2, and 3. All right, you might have to slide it over a bit. It's going to look a little frumpy at first, but the more rows you get on it, it'll look normal, I promise. All right, now we're going to chain 2 and then go back into the ring and double crochet, and we want to do that until we have 4 double crochets with chain 2s in between them. All right, I chain 2 again, so that's 1 double and then we chain 2. There's 2 doubles and we're going to chain 2. There's 3 doubles and we're going to chain 2. There's 4 doubles, and after that 4th double we're going to chain 2. So we'll go ahead and finish out. Now we're going to go back into the center of the ring. Got that chain 2 on a hook. We're going to put 3 doubles into the ring. There's 1, 2, 3, and we're going to chain 2. 1, 2, and we're going to go back in and work 3 more double crochets. 1, 2, and there's 3. All right, we'll be able to close that center circle up, but I'm going to wait till a little bit later to do it because, like I said, it's pretty frumpy in the beginning, but once you get to going, it starts to tighten up. Okay, so that's row 1, and let's look at what we have. So we have, this is kind of our beginning. It's what we do at the beginning of every row. 3 doubles, chain 2, 3 doubles. All right, and then here we have 1, 2, 3, 4 doubles by themselves, and then you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 chain 2 spaces, and then you come over here and you got your 3 doubles, chain 2, 3 doubles, and that's what we do at the end every time. All right, so that is row 1. Okay, go ahead and start row 2. We are going to chain 1 and turn on work. Now what we're going to do is every row is started exactly the same every time. We chain 1, we turn. We're going to skip that first stitch and we're going to slip stitch into the next. And then we're going to slip stitch into the next. And then we're going to slip stitch into the chain 2 space. And it still started the same. Then we chain 1. And then we go back into this chain 2 space and we work 3 doubles. 1, 2, 3, and then we chain 2, and we go back into the same space and work 3 more doubles. So that's every row, every single row starts just like that. Just like that. All right. Now what we're going to do, what's that? Fuzzy. All right. We are going to chain 1. And now we're going to skip these stitches here and this chain, and we're going to come right here to this double crochet, and we're going to work a front post double crochet around it. So we're going to yarn over, skipping these 3 doubles and this chain space. We're going to work in that double there, and we're just going to go around the post like that, and we're going to do a front post double crochet like that. And then we're going to work in this chain space, the next chain space, and we're going to work our shell. And this is how we do it. We are going to go into the chain space and we're going to work 3 double crochets. There's 1, 2, 3, and then we're going to chain just 1 when we do the shells, and go back into the same space and work 3 more double crochets. So we work the shells along the pattern itself, the main portion of the shawl. It's 3 doubles, chain 1, and 3 doubles into the same space. Now we're going to come up to this next double crochet right here, and we're going to do another front post double crochet right around the post, and front post double crochet like that. Okay, but we're going to chain 2, 1, 2, and then just skip the space completely and jump over here to this next double crochet, and we're going to work a front post double crochet around that one, just like that. All right, and now into the next space right here, we're going to work a shell. Don't worry, it's going to be very, very easy as you get past these initial rows. So in this space, we're going to work 3 doubles, slide them over if you need to, chain 1, just chain 1, and 3 more doubles into the same space. Like that. Now this next double crochet right here, front post double crochet around that. Like that. And now we are going to chain 1, and we're going to skip this chain space and these doubles, and then this last chain space here, it's always worked the same too. Just like the beginning is always worked the same, the end is always worked the same. So when you get to your chain 2 space there, make sure you chain 1 there after that shell, or after that postage. We're going to go into that space and we're going to work 3 doubles, 1, 2, and 3. We're going to chain 2 and go back in and work 3 more double crochets. And that will end row 2. And again, I know it looks frumpy and weird. It does. But I promise it will look normal. Here, I'll show you right now real quick. It's really just a very easy 2-row repeat. It's just V-stitches on one row and chain and shells on the other. See, it levels out. It becomes normal. I started with this color and I couldn't do the, it's too busy for me. So I went with the solid blood red the second time around. Okay, so that's row 2. So we have 2 shells here. And as you might have seen, these up here are beginning set and our end set do not count as shells, all right? Just here. And you might notice the post stitches will bring in the shells, all right? And the more rows you do, the more you'll start to notice that the shells start to come in on themselves so that they're supposed to. It's like a little bit three-dimensional. All right, why don't we go ahead and start row 3? Now this is going to be a chain 1 and turn our work. It's going to be a V-stitch row. Now V-stitches is where we're going to put our shells from now on. So we're going to do the same thing here in the beginning that we always do every row. We're going to skip the first stitch and we're going to slip stitch over 1 time, 2 times, and then 1 more time to that chain 2 space. We're going to chain 1, and in this space, always the same, 3 doubles, a chain of 2, and 3 doubles. Just like that. And we're going to chain 1 like that. All right. So in this space right here, this chain 1 space from the previous row, we're going to work a V-stitch. All right. So a V-stitch for this particular shawl is go right through that space, a double crochet, a chain of 2, and then another double crochet. So that, when I say V-stitch, that's what it is for this particular design. Double, a chain 2, and double. Now we're not going to chain or anything. We're going to come up, here's the shell from the previous row. Remember that chain 1 space? We're going to work a V-stitch into that chain 1 space. So don't do any change or anything around it. When you work a V-stitch row, it tends to tighten up. And it's supposed to do that. That's kind of what makes it start to look normal. So we're going to work a double crochet into that spot, chain of 2, and another double crochet into that chain 1 space of that shell, like that. And now we're going to come up here. Okay, here's our chain 2 space right here, this one right here, from the previous row, the center of our, or the point of our shawl. So this is what we do on the V-stitch rows when we get to the chain 2 space. We're going to go into it, and we're going to work a V-stitch through that chain 2 space. Remember, it's supposed to be tight, so don't worry about it being tight. Double crochet, chain 2, double crochet, like that. And then we're going to chain 2, 1, 2, and we're going to go back into the same space and work another V-stitch. Double crochet, chain 2, and a double crochet. So that is the point for the V-stitch row. It's a V-stitch, chain 2, V-stitch. All right. And now when we do shawls, we just have to always make sure that this side matches this side. So we're going to jump over here to our next shell in the chain 1 space. Don't do any change or anything, but in this space, we're going to work a V-stitch. Double crochet, chain 2, and a double crochet, like that. And then we're going to jump way over here to this chain 1 space, way over here, and work a V-stitch. Remember, it's going to be tight. It's supposed to be. Double crochet, chain 2, and double crochet. And now we have made it to the end, because here's our final chain 2 space. So we need to chain 1 and do the same thing that we do at the end of every row, which is in this chain 2 space. We work 3 double crochets, a chain of 2, and 3 double crochets. There it is, and that ends row 3. Now when you look at row 3, you're going to have 1, 2, 3 V stitches on this side of the chain 2, and you'll have 3 on this side. Okay, now we're going to start row 4, which would be a shell stitch row. Chain 1 and turn. Start the row how we start every row. Skip the first stitch and slip stitch once, and then we slip stitch into the next, and then we slip stitch into the chain space, chain 1, go back into this chain 2 space, and we work our 3 doubles, chain 2, go back in and work 3 doubles. Like that. Okay, and we have to chain 1 like that. All right, so now we're going to be working in the V stitches here. But before we do a shell into the V stitch, we have to work around the double crochets of the V stitch, and we have to make those front post double crochets, because that's what's going to give the shell the little oomph, the little curve up to give it a 3D effect. So we're just skipping these double crochets of this chain space, and here's our V stitch. So that first double crochet of the V stitch, we're going to work a front post double crochet, and then we're going to go into the chain 2 space of the V stitch, and we're going to work a shell. So remember, that was 3 doubles. There's 1, 2, and 3. Side more if you need to, and then you chain 1 and put 3 more doubles back into the V stitch. 1, 2, and 3. And then we had to do a front post double crochet around the other double crochet of the V stitch. So we're going to yarn over, go right around the post of that V stitch, and front post double like that. As you can see, after a while, once you get more rows on it, they'll start to turn in on themselves a bit like that, and that's what they're supposed to do. All right, now we're going to come to our next V stitch, and remember always, you have to do the front post double crochets, okay, around the post of the V stitch. We just did one around this one, and now we're coming up to another V stitch, and we got to do another front post double crochet around the first part of the next V stitch like that. And then we have to go into the chain 2 space and work a shell. So 3 doubles, a chain 1, and 3 doubles. And then you have to work the other post of the V, a front post double crochet. Try not to forget that. I know it can be a little confusing. I was forgetting it when I was doing that green one, and I kept having to rip it out. But every post of the V must have a front post double crochet around it when you do the shell stitch row. All right, So we're coming up to our point, but we got a V right here. So we got to do, we just did the front post double around this V. Now we're going to come to this V, and we got to do a front post double around that one. And then in the chain 2 space of the V, we have to work our shell. 3 doubles, chain 1, 3 doubles. That, and then you must remember to work your front post double crochet around the other post of the V. Always remember that, or your shells won't stick out. All right, now we're at the chain 2 space of the point here. We're just going to chain 2, not do anything in that space, and we're going to come over here. And we're going to start with this V-stitch and do the same thing on this side that we just did over here. So starting around the post of this V-stitch, remember we're skipping that chain 2. We're not doing anything there, but we did chain 2. Front post, double crochet, and then into the chain 2 space, work a shell. 3 doubles, chain 1, 3 doubles. Sorry. And then in this last post of this V, front post double, that, and then we're coming up on another V, so we have to front post double around the first double crochet of the V, work a shell in the chain 2 space of the V, that, front post double around the other double crochet of that V. Okay, that one's finished. See. Coming up on another V, so we have to do front post double around the first double crochet of it, and then we have to work our shell in the chain 2 space. Okay, and then we have to make sure we work our front post double around the last double of that V. There we go. And we're going to chain 1, and we're going to just skip all this right here. In this last chain 2 space, we do what we always do in the last chain 2 space. 3 doubles, chain 2, 3 doubles. Double, chain 2, 1, 2, and 3. All right, that's going to end row 4. You can probably close up that center circle now, pull your tail. All right, so this is what it's starting to look like. And now if you take a quick peek, you will see you don't count, remember, you don't count these as a shell, okay? They're not a shell. These ones on the end. You have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 shells now. All right. On the other round, previous shell round, you only had 2. Okay. So every shell round, you will gain 4 more shells than you had the previous shell round. So that was round 4. Now rounds 5 and 6 are pretty much a repeat of rows 3 and 4, but I'll go ahead and show you again because we'll be adding more to them. So we're going to start like we always do. We're going to chain 1 and slip stitch over 3 doubles, chain 2, 3 doubles. I'm going to go ahead and do that off camera. All right, so we're on row 5, which is the back side of our work. Odd rows are the back side of our work, and they're also the V-stitch rows, okay? So I did my 3 doubles, chain 2, 3 doubles. I'm going to chain 1, and I'm going to work my first V-stitch right here in this chain space. So I'm just going to go in and work double crochet, chain 2, and double crochet. Now remember, the V-stitch rows do get pretty tight, especially the more rows that you get on, it starts to get tighter and tighter and tighter. But that's what you want because it closes, it makes your shells poof out. All right, now don't chain or anything. Jump to the chain 1 space of the next shell and do a V into that. And then chain 1 space of the next shell. So we just skip all this and jump over here to our next shell. It's tight. And do a V. Like that. And then all the way over here to our next shell and chain 1 space of it. Do a V. All right, and now we're at our chain 2 space right here. So we just did our shell or our V-stitch in this shell. Here's our chain 2 space, the center, and in that we are going to put a V-stitch. Chain 2 and another V-stitch into that chain space. And that's how the center is always made, or the point on the V-stitch row. V-stitch, chain 2, V-stitch. All right, remember we just have to make this side match this side. So we're going to V-stitch in the chain 1 space of these next 3 shells. There's 1, and we're going to go jump all the way over here to the next one. And then all the way over here to this last shell, chain 1 space of it, put a V. That, and then we also had to put a V in this chain 1 space. This is what helps increase it as well as the point. So in this chain 1 space, put a V. Just like we did on the other side. Like that. And we're going to chain 1. And then we're at our ending stitch. And we're going to do the same thing that we always do. 3 doubles, chain 2, 3 doubles. All right, I'm going to go ahead and do that. All right, so that's the end of row 5. And if you count your V stitches, so here's your chain 2 space. You got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on each side, a total of 10. So the V stitch row, you will have 4 more V stitches than you did the previous row, as well as the shells. All right, because the shells go into the V stitches. So that makes sense. All right. Let's go ahead and do row 6, which would be the final row of the repeat, 5 and 6. It just keeps getting bigger and bigger. We're going to chain 1, and we're going to do what we do here at the beginning. Slip stitch over, chain 1, and 3 doubles, chain 2, 3 doubles. I'll go ahead and get that done. Alrighty, we got a chain 1 after that. And now we have to do all the shells. And remember, they're worked in the V-stitches. And each double crochet of the V-stitch has to have a front post double crochet. So let's begin. Front post double crochet around the first double crochet of the first V. Go into the chain 2 space, work a shell, And then we have to go around the other part of the V, the other double crochet, and front post double crochet, like that. And then we move over to the next V stitch and we front post double crochet around the first double crochet of it. So you're kind of like doing 2 front post double crochets in a row. Just remember not to forget. You might forget now and again. I kept forgetting. And in the chain 2 space, we work our shell. Like that. And then around the other double crochet of the V, front post double crochet. And that one's done. You move on to your next V stitch, front post double crochet into the first part, the first double crochet of it, shell, and then front post double crochet, front post double crochet, shell in the chain 2 space, and front post double crochet. And do it right here. I'll meet back up with you at the chain 2 space. So we have 1, 2, 3 more shells to go. Make sure you front post double crochet in every double crochet or every leg of the V stitch, all right? I'll see you in a second. All right, so I'm coming up here. Here's the chain 2 space right here, but we still have to work a shell here in our front post doubles around both of those legs. Front post double and shell into the chain 2 space of the V. And then we have to do, here's the chain 2 space of the point, but we have to do a front post double around this V. Like that. All right, now what we're going to do is we're going to chain 2. We're just going to skip that chain 2 space, and we're going to start again right here with this V stitch, doing what we did on the other side on this side. So we're working a, so we don't do anything into that chain 2 space, we just chain 2 for the next row. All right, we're going to be working a shell into every V stitch, making sure that every double crochet leg of each V stitch is a front, you put a front post double crochet around it. All right, okay, I'm gonna go ahead and do this, and I will meet you at the end of row 6. All right. All right, so I went ahead and finished off row 6 after I did my last shell and my last front post double. I chained 1, and then I did what we do at the end. So that's, and you got, now you'll have, if you find your chain 2 space, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 10. Last time we had 6, now we have 10. 4 more. Every time you repeat, you will have 4 more. All right, that's it. We're going to repeat rows 5 and 6. 5 is the V-stitch row. It gets real tight. And then, or every time we repeat row 5, it's the V-stitch row. It gets real tight. And then every time we repeat row 6, it's the shell stitch row, which will crumple up the shells like they're supposed to look like that. See that? They're starting to become a little bit more three-dimensional. Like I said, they'll get better over time. They'll start to pop out more. That's it. You just keep repeating. And remember, you always have 4 more V-stitches in the previous row and 4 more shells than the previous row. And you want to keep doing this until you get it as big as you want it to be. I'm not sure how many rows I do, but like I said, I did start on this one, but I stopped because I didn't like the color. But it does start to, I mean, it straightens out, it starts to look like this. Shells get pretty crumply, it gets pretty three-dimensional. It's pretty cool looking. Maybe not in such a busy yarn, but that's why I went to red. All right, I'm going to keep going, and I'll let you know how many total rows of rows 5 and 6 I do. All right, for tutorial purposes, I cut it short because I've already Yes, this is a different yarn than what I started the tutorial with. I've made this shawl like 4 different types of yarn. And so you just get the gist of it. That's what it looks like. Yeah, you can see it much better now. So yeah, you just keep repeating rows 5 and 6 till you get to your desired size. Yeah. I'll probably work on it more later, but I just, like I said, for tutorial purposes. Plus, I've done it so many times today. This same one. I like it. It's pretty. So, hope you enjoyed my video. Don't forget to hit that like button if you enjoyed. I'd appreciate it. Check out all my other tutorials. I have so many anything you could ever want to make, and many of them. I'll see you guys on my next video. Okay. Have a good night. Bye, guys.